Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, it's
chilly in Gauteng.
It's chilly, and it's Sunday, so
we are busy gallivanting, jollying in this cold morning.
Yeah. Mutho wa rata go jola o.
Wena o rata. No, re rata go jola.
Yeah, so we just thought maybe we should have a bit of a conversation with you guys. As you know, we all about love, marriage, relationships. You know, a relationship with you, a relationship with somebody else. You know, that's what matters to us. So malobanyana mo, I was doing a video. I was on daily duties, but the video was about getting to know the person that you're with, because we've just realized that, you know, in this life nowadays, when we talk about getting to know someone, there are certain things that we don't pay attention to, and those are the things that hit us with surprises whenever they happen, whenever they occur, and then you try to figure out, who am I with? You know, I remember
People
I was sharing
assume that, you know, they're on the same page, and only to realize later on that no, we're actually not, you know, walking on the same path. Yeah.
Yes, we have to try by all means to avoid that, and the only way we can avoid such things is if we learn to engage on serious matters. We learn to engage on those uncomfortable conversations, you know, when we ask the right questions, when we communicate on issues that we know are very sensitive, because the more we ignore those, that's the more we're going to struggle when we are hit with challenges. So I was sharing last time that, look, if you really want to know the person that you are with, you actually need to know their thoughts. You need to know their feelings. You need to know their expectations. You need to know their perceptions and ideologies. You need to know what they believe in, you know, because sometimes we just assume that we are both Christians, or else we are not Christians. We are in love, we are in marriage, or we are in relationship. That means we believe in the same things, and that is the error that we actually make, because when challenges hit, that is when you realize that I'm with someone who actually does not have the same thoughts, the same belief system, the same feelings about certain things as I do, you know. So these are the conversations that my wife and I have, you know, more often, because we don't want to find ourselves facing different directions while we believe we are in love, we are in marriage.
You still need to check in. Are we still working together? You know, because people change, you know, as we grow. So we need to revisit those conversations that we had, and we still check in, baby, are we still working together? You know, so it's very important to have those conversations.
Yeah, when we engage with other couples, you know, even through counseling, and maybe just general random talks, you realize that in actual fact, people get surprised when you ask certain questions, you know, about themselves, you know, about their spouses, and people find themselves in a position where they're thinking, Hunter, you think like that? Hunter, you believe like that? Hunter, you feel like that? You know, and it actually made us realize that we actually fight and argue as a result of the things that we don't talk about. You know, it's not always about what we engage on, and when we do good with engaging on responsibilities. You know, but that's the account, regular dijo, you know, but that's the school fees, we say that and that. That's what we are good at. But having conversations about us,
it's difficult.
It's challenging. you know, it becomes uncomfortable sometimes. You know, in most cases we even ignore these conversations because we're thinking, you know what, this is definitely going to change my mood. You know, how can he or how can she ask me about something like that? You know, this is not the time for it. You know, we are happy, we are fine.
So
you know, we shouldn't touch on certain issues. You know, and we need to realize that in actual fact, when we talk about real happiness, in relationships, in marriage, it's basically when we are able to express our deeper thoughts, you know, our feelings, you know, our fears and doubts and concerns and all that.
And it's easier to start those deeper conversations when things are fine. You know, you're easier to tackle them than when things are not okay, you know. So I think when things are fine, when you're happy, that's when you need to sit down and have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yep. So we were just having, you know, I don't know, perhaps this could be the reason why Osman Lebo had to raise an issue in our marriage group, and
can we say hi to people? Hi, Metis, Tate Muhube, and Seboladi. Thank you for watching.
Osman Lebo, I saw you somewhere.
Yeah. Hello.
I don't know who else is here, but hi guys. Thank you so much for connecting now. We are just so concerned, to be honest with you, because these are some of the things that we also used to fight about. We also used to argue about. You know, we also used to have no clear, you know, direction as to how can we actually tackle these issues, up until we realize that the best way is actually to communicate more about these issues. You know, because the issue of assuming that things are in order, it's where the problem starts, because we can be in order today, but tomorrow we might feel or think differently. And it will change that order. So we need to communicate, we need to talk more often about these particular issues. One thing that we really need to engage with you on is if you and your spouse are actually walking in one accord. Are you really in agreement with how you think, how you feel? You know, I know that some people say it's gonna be boring if we think the same things, or if we feel the same way. But look, it is not gonna be boring. That is the process of oneness. That is how you become one. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have to think about the same things. And it also doesn't mean that you also have alike. You know, you have to think alike, but agreeing on certain things, particularly those that would actually affect your marriage in a huge way, it's very important. I know we believe, you know, we can agree on everything as a couple, but let me tell you, it's actually important that you understand, even if you don't agree, but you understand where you stand, you understand where you are. And at the same time, if you don't agree, you must understand that it's going to be an issue, because how can the two work together unless they agree? There are people who say, no, let's agree to disagree. And that, in actual fact, it leaves a hole in the marriage, because now you've actually opened the door for anything that can just come just to get you guys in disagreement. And we need to be careful with that. As couples, it's important that we may not think alike, but we need to align our thoughts. We need to align our emotions, our feelings. We need to align our perceptions, because at the end of the day, we need the same thing. So we need to strengthen our companionship. But if we say no, if we're gonna agree on everything, then the marriage is gonna be boring. How can it be boring? Because how would you walk and understand one another if you don't agree on certain things? It's better we learn ways to make each other understand our standing point. Where if you say, I feel this way, and I say, no, I feel this way, Let me not say, you know what, okay, that's how you feel. Keep it to yourself then. I'm also going to feel this way. Let's agree to disagree on that. But rather, let's say, no, let's engage on these feelings. What influences your feelings?
Yes.
What influences how you want to do things? We have to engage and discuss on these things. But we realize that in most cases, when people argue in marriages, it's simply because they don't want to align their thoughts, they don't want to align their perceptions, their ideologies, their belief systems. They don't want to align them. Aligning them, we're not saying, hey, you know, have the same things, but we are saying, let your differences also align so that one understands how you think, how you feel about whatever that you believe in, and I also do the same. But in most cases, we want to be individuals when it comes to this type of situations where I feel like, hey, this is now very sensitive, and we close each other out. And that is where the problem is.
Starts.
How are we going to grow together in this journey when we find ourselves in different positions, when we find ourselves in agreeing to disagree? It is going to be a challenge. How we engage with my wife on these issues, believe you me, if it means we have to argue and fight, we do that. We do that because we have to give each other time to learn and to understand how she thinks, how she feels. And we can only do that when we engage on these conversations. But how often do you do that with your spouse? How often do you say, you know what, we are happy. We are happy, but no, man, something is missing. You know, why is it that we are only happy when we don't touch on sensitive subjects? The moment we touch on sensitive subjects, we feel like, no, this is not happiness. You know, and there are people who are very hysterical. You know, I thought you were this type of a person. You know, until you are not. You know, because you are emotional at that time. Somebody pressed the button, and I'm saying we need to press these buttons. We need to press these buttons, because if we don't press these buttons, situations will press these buttons. And when situations presses these buttons, we will find ourselves, you know, frustrated, not knowing what to do at that particular time. So we just want to say to you guys, it is important that you understand how your spouse, how your person thinks, you know, how they actually feel, how they process their thoughts, how they process their feelings, so that you can be able to work together. We are not supposed to just say, you know what, let's rather just go with the flow. Things are still fine right now. Yes, when things are fine, of course, enjoy the flow. But when things are not fine, don't shut each other out. Don't close up to one another. Don't ignore each other's concerns. Don't just say, look, this is how I am, this is what I am, please.
Take me as I am.
Yes, take me as I am.
That is not on.
Let's not frustrate our relationship right now. We are happy. But at the end of the day, is your spouse happy? There are marriages whereby one spouse is happy, one is not. And the things are happening. Life continues. And the most dangerous part is that the other spouse does not know that the other one is not happy. And sometimes they don't know because the other spouse is not talking, or else the other spouse is trying by all means to say, listen, understand, hear me, but you are shutting them down, you're shutting them out. And therefore they decide to say, what's the use
of talking? Because I'm not heard anyways, so I'm gonna just shut and perform, you know. And it's so painful to have a spouse who just performs, you know, and not be in it fully and enjoy what they are doing. So it's important to revisit those conversations, you know, no matter how sensitive they are, you need to touch on them and be on the same path to avoid such situations.
And to be honest with you, love, our true happiness in marriage is hidden in those sensitive conversations. If you don't touch on those sensitive conversations, how are you going to take each other out of that sensitivity, because you need to be able to let me in, and I need to be able to let you in. But if I don't allow you to touch on those sensitive issues, then at the end of the day, it's like, no, that is my zone alone.
That's my zone. It's a no-go area. We cannot go there.
And for as long as we leave that, it will always leave a hole in the marriage. It will always create issues, because if one chooses to go silent over an issue that you actually don't want to listen or understand or address, because it's sensitive to you, if one, oh, thanks, that's your hair. It actually makes it more fine for you, but not for them. Trust me, we do have couples that we love so much, we engage with almost on daily basis. One does not understand that my spouse is not happy, and we are in a position whereby they're able to open up to us and say, hey, you know what, hey guys, things are fine in my marriage, but I'm drowning. And we need to break that. Check up on your spouse every time. Check up on them. Are you fine? Are we okay? Am I doing you right? We need to do that. We need to allow our spouses in those areas where we felt, or else situationally, or I don't know if there's a term called situationally, those issues that we found ourselves in, and we just feel like we don't want anybody to know about it. Open up to your spouse about it. And most importantly, guys, please listen to one another. Listen to one another. Listen to your spouse's thoughts. Listen to their emotions. Whenever they say, can we talk about this? Learn to listen. Learn to listen and engage with them on it.
And don't listen to respond. Listen to understand where they are. Don't just listen to, just to bash them or just to criticize them, because that's when they decide, you know what, I cannot feel safe, discussing deeper issues, because always I am being attacked or condemned.
Exactly.
So please make yourself a safe space for your spouse to be able to express, their thoughts and their emotions without any fear of being, ridiculed.
It's very important, because most people withdraw because they feel they get ridiculed whenever they want to express how they feel. Most people withdraw because they're just not listened to, and the moment they get to that withdrawal mode, believe me, that is where you start losing one another. That is where you start not understanding, or actually getting to grow together. So we need to understand the reality and the importance of communicating in a way that will open up even those sensitive issues. We need to do that. So we will connect with you guys later on. We just thought maybe we can just share this with you. We just wanted to give you something to ponder on. And because it's an issue of concern for us. It's really a concern. So as you can see, we are packed now somewhere. My wife said we have to cook a very delicious meal, so we are out to get some veggies, because we're trying to keep healthy. So what are you doing with your spouse today
on this cold
weather? We know some says, especially the single ones, they'll say it's a baby making weather. Devil is a liar. We're praying for you. For the married, I know it has to be a baby making weather, be cozy, love one another, cook the soups, and also, or maybe just stay in bed. It's Sunday, just relax. But guys, we love you. And we will connect again. So we just hope and pray that you do understand the fact that it is important to work together, to agree. It is important to agree.
It is.
If you can actually get that agree to disagree out of your system. Believe you me, it will help you a great deal. It will help you, especially in marriage. Yes, you don't know, you can agree to disagree with me, but not with your spouse, not with your partner. You don't have to be at that point. So we will chat again. We will talk again.
Be good, stay safe, and be warm. We love you.
Ta-da!